Howdy, I'm Sadie Mae with The Awesome Orange, and this week I'm going to show you how I installed some awesome laminate flooring in my living room. A big thank you to Audacity Flooring for sponsoring this video. As you can see, my current floor was just painted white concrete, and it shows all the Oscar dirt. First step was to remove the existing baseboards, and they were in there good, caulked on both the top and bottom. So this trim puller I'm using helped me to not punch holes in the drywall. I'll be reusing this same baseboard, so I took the time to remove all the nails. Then the next step was check my floor for level, because the most important step is that we start with a level floor, or at least within 1/8 of an inch level throughout. Well, my floor was way off. So my step 3 was to remove the paint off the concrete, because we need to level this entire floor, and in order to get the new self-leveling concrete to stick, we need to get the paint off. We rented this floor prepper machine that helped us a ton. We used a little bit of water to keep the dust down, but it was just very laborious work. I don't think Oscar's too sure of this project, and I'm not sure how many times I ended up mopping this floor. You want to make sure all the dust and debris and everything is super clean. Then we kind of laid out where all the low spots were around the room. And then it was time to prime the concrete. Priming the concrete is just another level to make sure that the new concrete sticks to the old concrete. And then it was go time. We set up all of our water buckets, our self-leveling concrete, and then I was mixing, my husband was pouring. We learned so much doing this. This was our first time ever using self-leveling concrete, and we learned so much that I'm not going to share it all here, and probably when we do our bedroom, I will make more information on how we leveled the floor. You can see we had a little valley down the middle we needed to touch up. But now that the floor is level within 1/8 of an inch, it's time to start installing the new flooring. When installing laminate flooring directly over concrete, you need to first put down a moisture barrier. This is 6mm plastic made for this sort of thing, and it's going to protect the flooring from any moisture that might seep through the porous concrete. All right, it's time. Let's get to laying this floor. I'm using Audacity's Flooring water-resistant laminate flooring in the color Oslo, and I really love the look and feel of it. It's got some texture to it, so it makes it look and feel more like real wood. It also comes with a pre-installed foam backing on it, so you don't have to lay any sort of foam down, which is going to give it a softer feel when you're walking on the floors. You're going to need very minimal tools in order to install this flooring. Just a rubber mallet, a little tapper device, and some spacers around the wall. For the first 2 rows is probably the hardest to install, just because they want to slide around a little bit on you. That's why I put a couple of boxes on the first 2 rows so it doesn't move when I tap everything into place. When laying out your boards, you want to make sure that your boards are no shorter than 12 inches in length. So starting or ending a row, the board needs to be at least 12 inches. So you'll have to do the math depending on your room. And then you also want to keep the seams or the cracks in between each board at least 8 inches apart, just to make it look good so they're not too close to each other. And then to install it, again, you want the 1/2 inch spacer on each end for the expansion and contraction. And then when you're getting out the new boards out of the boxes, you just want to inspect that there isn't any damage to any of the clicking parts, because that's what's going to hold everything together. Then you set the long side of the board first, make sure it's flush up against the short side, and then tap it in until it locks in place. When it comes time to trim your boards around stairs or just the length, you can use a jigsaw, or I used my miter saw for most of the cuts, but for this one around the stairs, I used my jigsaw. When you're using the jigsaw, you do want to flip it upside down so you don't get any tear out in the actual face of the piece. Mine, I did it wrong in that view, but I'll have some trim covering it up so you'll never see it. Yay, hubby's home. Now he can help me lay the rest of this flooring. Opening more boxes. You'll see here I open 4 boxes at a time, and I take a piece from each box as I go, just so that if there's any inconsistencies in the color, it'll spread it throughout the room and give it a really good flow. Definitely a workout. Another thing I love about this flooring is that it's water resistant, which means it's wet moppable. It's also pet friendly with extra stain and scratch resistance, and comes with a lifetime limited warranty. And here's a closer look at what I mean by tapping it all the way into place. You want to make sure that there aren't any gaps. So satisfying to close those up. Oscar's here to remind me that it's time for a dance break. All right, back to work. And we're on the other side of the room, so it's not always feasible to be able to tap them in. So there is this little tool that you can put in the gap and then hammer it backwards to close up those gaps. I'll put a link in the description box below of the little kit that I bought to install this floor. I'll also be scribing a piece of oak to go around my stairs. Scribing it basically means making an outline of the bumpy brick that the piece can sit flush up against too in the future. All right, it's time to get cleaned up and put what I call the bow tie or the baseboards back on. This section of baseboard made my head hurt a little bit, but I figured it out in the end. All right, here's your reminder. This is where we started, and this is my new flooring. I'm absolutely in love with it. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And remember, build loud, build wild, and have an awesome day.